Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to a mental break. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you to any new subscribers. Well, I told you I was back up on the scene, guys, because I'm going to keep pumping out these videos. All right, you see a thumbnail. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. Now, since I'm gonna call him, it's this TikToker that calls you know who Wig, the one that's been signing all these executive orders. So we're gonna call him Wig for the purpose of this video, so that I don't want to say his name too many times, and then I wind up getting flagged for whatever reason, because you know you can't say too much about him. So Wig been signing all these executive orders, right? And now people are losing their minds. Now, black people in this country, especially foundation blacks, the ones have been here since slavery and even before slavery. We know how this country is. We've known from generation to generation to generation. As a matter of fact, it's in our DNA at this point. And we know as a people, we've always chosen the lesser of the two evils. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that one party is better than the other, because they are actually not. It's just you have to choose the lesser of the two evils. So we've always chose the lesser. Now, because this country is built on racism, capitalism, elitism, all these things, you have other races of people who have throughout time have been aligning themselves with the Caucasians of this country. For example, your Italians, Cubans, you know, all these other, people, Russians, Germans, all these other all these other cultures that want to align themselves with the white race, because in America, we see the privilege. If you're black or brown in this country, you see the privilege as clear as day. And for those people who are a part of uh, the brown cultures, but are white passing, they definitely want to, align themselves with the privileged side. So, and we saw that in this election. Now, I'm going to go back to the last time Wig was elected. And I was working a federal job at the time. I was a nurse working for the federal government. And when you work in a federal building, they have a picture of the current president in the lobby of the building when you walk in. So every 4 years, they take the picture down of the last president and put the new one up, unless it's the same president. So when Wig was in won the first one, and his picture went up on the wall down there were a lot of the privileges walking around saying whatever they wanted to say. The racism was so real. Oh, I remember it. I remember just walking through the halls, just hearing certain conversations, and, just the way they started talking to, us black and brown people. So I remember that very well. So it didn't surprise me. So it wasn't like I expected something different, because racism has always been the biggest blemish on this country besides, slavery. It's always been the biggest blemish. So, because you always have those who think they should have, and then they believe that others should not, just because of skin color. So, because they believe this, they, had benefited from decades of just doing whatever they want to do and having certain beliefs and attitudes and certain entitlements. And, they stood by and watched Jim Crow, and, just let's just bring it current. Let's just bring what's going on now. There are still parts of America where black and brown people cannot go. Lynching is still happening. These things are still happening. So this is 2025, and you can still see the racism in this country. So when Wig went in this term, they were all happy that Wig won on November, when was the election? November 4th or whatever, November 5th. The next day after the election, and everybody found out that Wig won. Oh, they were so happy. It was partying everywhere. Oh, they loved it because they believed, because they voted for Wig and they knew what Wig stood for. And they stood for what Wig stood for because they believed with Wig in office that black and brown people will be stepped on under their feet while they just reap everything of capitalism and entitlement and everything that they've been doing here in America, since God knows when. So now that Wig has got in office and he's signing these executive orders left and right, and now that we got deportations going on, we got privileged people losing their jobs, and I've never seen so many Caucasians crying all over social media. I've never seen it. And I'm watching this and I'm like, really? Then I'm watching Mexicans, Cubans, Palestinians, Indians. I'm just watching all these people crying because they're losing these good, cushy jobs that they had because they believed that DEI was only going to apply to Black people and brown people. They really thought because they had their cushy jobs, their nice homes, their, their manicured lawns, and, they're able to sit in, their eliteness, and they can look down on others. They thought that that's what was going to happen. Well, Lord, look and behold what's going on now. These people are crying all over the place. They are losing it. They're having all kinds of breakdowns. They writing all kinds of letters. They're crying. They're begging. They're sniffling all over social media. Now, the numbers tell it. 92% of black women voted Democrat. 80, I think it was 82 to 84% black men voted Democrat. When it comes to all the other ones, the highest percentage went to Trump. White women, Mexican, Indian. I don't know about the Asians. I'm not sure. I don't remember hearing about what the Asians did. But the reason why they did that is because, again, they thought that he was going to come in and lift them up and keep his foot on our necks, like there's always been. That's what they thought. Because the last 4 years under Biden, it's been a lot of economic turmoil. So they thought Trump was going to come in and save the day. Well, guess what? He didn't. And I'm not laughing about it because this is actually very sad. I don't take joy or pleasure in seeing human suffering. I don't. But I really, really do feel bad about the people, the good people that are caught up in this crossfire of these deportations. Because I think I've mentioned it before on this channel. I'm a school nurse at a high school, and there are a lot of migrant kids who comes to the school. And I've gotten to know these kids, and they're sweet kids, and they don't bother nobody, and they want to learn, and they have plans for their future. And for one of the students to come in the office and say to me, I can't think about this. I come here and I try not to think about it because I don't know what to do, and I might start crying, and and just it's just sad, and I just feel really bad for these kids because they're the innocent ones caught up in this stuff. But the unfortunate side of it is that their own people did it to them. Their own people. They like to say how black people don't stick together. Well, we stuck together on one thing because we knew we might fight each other, we might not do what's right, we might not have the best relationships as far as men and women, we might infight and everything else, but we knew when it came to that voting booth, we knew what we had to do because we already know we have to pick the lesser of the two evils. Now, was either side going to do the best job? No, but you had to pick the lesser of the two evils because if you would have picked the other side, all these deportations wouldn't be going on. Now, mind you, there was a lot of other things that was wrong. This is true, but you have a lot more human suffering now than what would have happened. Now, we would not may have liked what the other side was going to do, but it wouldn't be as much human suffering as it is now. And that's the thing, because now you have a lot of innocent families that are being torn apart and people that are being hijacked. Basically, they think they're going to a doctor's appointment or they're going to work and ICE is there to take them away because it was this Latino young man on TikTok just crying all in the car, losing his mind because he took his mother to a doctor's appointment and ICE took his mother and she's diabetic, and he was saying that she's not being fed or something. I don't know all the details, but see, this is what happens when you are so caught up in privilege, and that's what it is. The people. See, this is the thing. People were okay when they thought that what was going on with wig was only going to affect black and brown people. They were okay with voting the way that they voted because they thought it wasn't going to happen to them. But see, now that it happens to them, now they want black and brown people to come to their defense or rescue. But a lot of black and brown people are saying, why? Because you had no problem having our asses on the line. You had no problem with that. But see, now that you guys are being torn apart, y'all can't handle it. And see what these other cultures don't understand. Black people are used to this in America. We survived everything that was thrown our way. So you think we can't survive this next 4 years? We've survived the worst of history. I mean, for those for those of you who don't know, you need to pick up a book sometimes and really read what happened to black people during slavery. It wasn't just working in some fields. It was a lot of disgusting, dehumanizing things that were done to black people in this country to build this country. And a lot of these laws that have come about, these civil rights, DEI, and all of these things, they came out of us being slaves. That's what they came out of. So this is why, black and brown people are saying, listen, we sitting this out because of the simple fact that we tried to tell people nobody wanted to read Project 2025. What they thought it was a joke. Black people knew it wasn't a joke. Black people knew it wasn't a joke because we know what this country is about. So when we saw this Project 2025, we knew that wasn't a drill. That was dead serious. They wasn't playing. And he's showing you now he's not playing. And this is going to continue until I don't know what's going to happen. I ain't even going to lie to you. I ain't even going to lie. So while all these other people are crashing out, black people are preparing because we already know. Black people already know we're going into survival mode. So that's why I said what's going on in this country now, it's all about racism and greed. And you chose racism and greed over humanity. That's what you chose. So now you have to deal with what comes with that. 2020 was a test run because guess what? They about to do their big one on y'all. They about to do their big one and y'all can't handle it because y'all are so privileged. You're so used to everything being handed to you. You didn't have to fight for anything. You weren't discriminated against. You weren't redlined. You were given opportunities. If y'all look at, see, that's the thing, nobody wants to read. If you would have looked at the DEI policy itself, blacks were at the bottom. DEI, the blacks weren't at the top. So when you heard DEI, you thought, oh, that's going to be black and brown people. That ain't us. That ain't us. I'm this, I'm that. Okay, good luck. Because now we see what that really meant. Now, these DEI policies, they are going to affect everyone because it is trickling down to black and brown people. We're all suffering, but we're suffering in different ways. See, the difference is black people already know the deal. The ones is we already know what's on the line. So we're going to make a way. That's the thing. Y'all don't know what to do because everything's been handed to you. You didn't have to worry about being turned down at the bank for a business loan. You didn't have to worry about being turned down at the bank for a home loan. You could live wherever you wanted to live. You the right color, you could live wherever you want to live in America. No questions asked. When you're black in America, you got to find out how many black people live in the area. That's what you got to find out. You got to find out what is the pop, how many whites, how many blacks. That's what you got to find out because we don't have that privilege. We don't have the privilege to say, you know what, I want to move to Arkansas. This town looks nice. No, we have to find out who lives in the area we want to live in because we know we can't go there if it's an all white area because they're going to try to run us out because it's still going on. You still hear stories. I've heard stories recently about a black family that has a farm where the white family been terrorizing them and nobody's doing anything about it. They're not doing anything because that's what America is. They don't want anybody to have anything but them. You can't have nothing. Black and brown people can't have nothing. Only the privileged. They can have it. And see, that's what's going on right now. But see, what people are missing is that it's a new day. So it's no longer about your privilege. Now it's about your money. Because now that's what it is now. It's not even about your color anymore. It's about money now. So if you're a black millionaire, if you're a black billionaire, you're going to be okay. If you're a black person that has your own business that is doing well, you just happen to have something that can stand the test of time, that's recession proof, you're going to be okay. But see, all these people that, was just enjoying the privilege, well, now your privileges are starting to crumble. Because when they dismantle the Board of Education, like they're talking about, it's not just going to be the inner city schools, it's going to be the suburban public schools as well, where you're paying these high taxes. Now, I'm not saying that there's not going to be some schools because I believe in some elite areas they're still going to have some sort of school system, but for most people it won't be. It will be for the people who really have money. That's who it's going to be for. They're going to be offering some other alternative as far as education, whether it's some sort of homeschooling or whatever the case may be, but it's going to be subpar education. It's not going to be, what you were getting, what these kids were getting. So that's why I said it's not nothing new to us. My family has already discussed if it comes to homeschooling, who was going to do what in the family as far as teaching, because everyone in my family has degrees. When you're a black family, when you're black in America, you have to be overeducated to get anywhere. Not just educated, overeducated. Because we have to work twice as hard, study twice as much, and know twice as much because the privileges get the jobs just for having the privilege. I'm a nurse and I've seen it 1,000 times. I've seen it so many times, it's disgusting. That I work alongside nurses that can't even spell their damn name. But because they have the privilege, they're the supervisors. I work alongside nurses with music degrees that just happen to do an accelerated course and become a nurse and still don't know their hand from their ass. So again, all this stuff that's going on, it ain't no point in y'all boo-hoo crying because the tables are turning and y'all done effed around and found out that y'all ain't as privileged as you think y'all are. It's all about money now. And that's what y'all can't handle. Y'all can't handle that y'all might have to be in the same neighborhoods as us or in the same situation as us. Y'all can't handle that. And a lot of us are not in bad situations. That's not it. What it is that you can't afford anything now. The game has changed. They changed the requirements of a lot of things. You got to have money now. And if you're losing jobs left and right, losing your homes, because this is a trickle down effect. These people that are losing their jobs right now, they're crying right now, but they really gonna be jumping off. Well, let me not say that. They really gonna be over the edge in about another 6 months when it sets in that they can't pay that mortgage. When it sets in that they can't find a job. And it's not because they can't find a job because they're not qualified. They're not going to find a job because there's so many of you privileges out there looking for work. Y'all are going to be slitting each other's throats to get it because that's exactly what's going to go on. And black and brown people are still going to find a way, like we always have. So if you think that we're out of the game, it'll never be that. Because you know why? We've always had to be smarter. We always had to work harder. We always had to have a backup plan to the backup plan. So y'all never had to do that because your privilege allowed you to get and do whatever you want. Because I've seen it way too many times. I've seen nurses with so many uh, uh, initials behind their names get turned down for positions that they were 100% qualified for a privileged person to walk in that just have RN behind their name and still be a director. I said, well, Lord Jesus. And then the black one with all the letters behind their names is their assistant. I've seen it so many times, it makes me want to throw up. That's why I never aspired to go higher because I saw the game. I saw the game. So I said, I have to play the game my way. So that's why I started playing the game my way. So it's called working smarter and not harder. Because I wasn't going through all that because I already saw what I'm working with. Where I live at is a good old boy type of place. So they're always going to choose the privilege over me. It doesn't matter. If a privilege walks through there, especially if it's one of their friends, you can forget it, especially at the top paying jobs, at the executive levels. Oh, yeah, you can forget it because they'll give it to an Asian before they give it to a black. Because I've seen it. I've seen it. They'll give it to a Hispanic before they give it to a black. That's why these people are losing their jobs and they're losing their minds because of DEI. And they thought that DEI was for black people, but it actually isn't. We're actually at the bottom. You need to go look up that DEI policy. So that's why I said everybody running around losing their minds. You know, not everybody, but the privilege. But y'all just gonna have to see what it's like. And see with the privilege losing their minds here and losing their jobs and stuff like that, they can't even run to state fund, state benefits because he's messing with that. You only can be on he starting in 2026. You can only be on Section 8 for 2 years if you're able bodied. I'm sure a lot of these policies they do have stipulations, and people are just making a broad statement. But I'm sure that the elderly, the people that have mental issues and things like that, it doesn't affect them. People who have serious issues. But for able-bodied people, this is what it's for. So you're not going to be able to be in public housing more than 2 years. They're getting rid of food stamps on some level, whether they're going to decrease the requirements or they're going to give out food boxes, one or the other, because Trump talked about that before. So, all these things are changing. So all these things that were so, that the privileges were think that they can run to and they were getting, well, no, it's bye-bye. It's bye-bye now. It's bye-bye. So I just got on here to say that because when I was laying up in bed sick, I have never seen so many privileged people crying. I was like, Lord Jesus, This don't make no sense. You know how often black and brown people lose their jobs because of the privileges, and y'all can't take it. Anyway, you voted for Wig. Wig is in there. Wig and Muskrat. They both in there having a good old boy time. And they don't care about nobody but the rich. That's all they care about. So buckle up, Buttercups. It's going to be a long 4 years. I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know how this is going to turn out. But I know this is going to be an ugly ride because we talking about all kinds of. You got these crashes, you got these fires, you got weather disturbances, you got all this stuff going on, along with privileges losing their jobs, deportations, health issues as far as these whatever the hell's going on, viruses and flus and all kinds of mess they got going on. This is what's going on in America right now, and not to mention the threat of you know what, of problems with the peoples across borders. So, because at this point everybody hates us, so I advise anybody not to go out the country right now because everybody hates us, damn near everybody. So, because we you can't even go to Canada right now. So this is a mess. This is a hot mess. And all I'm gonna do is sit back and eat my popcorn because there's nothing else I can do. And besides do what I'm doing. Because I'm doing my own things. I'm not solely dependent on a job. And you definitely know I ain't dependent on YouTube. I ain't even at 1,000 damn subscribers. So you know I ain't dependent on YouTube. So that's why I said, listen, y'all be safe out here. I hope y'all can figure things out. Y'all can maneuver. Leave some comments in the bottom how you feel about this. How are you feeling about what Wig is doing up there in the White House, him and Muskrat? How you feel about the privileges and their spiraling? And how you feel about, the migrants and what's going on with them. So just drop a little comment. Let me know what's going on. And I appreciate you guys. And I'll be back with another video. Be safe out here, guys.